Hey guys, Sandy here, and welcome back to our weekly video series, Fun with Distress Oxides. So I have my Distress Oxides here, I have some Vicki Boutin mixed media paper, I have my one photo, and I'm going to pull out some stencils and see what I can come up with these oxides. So let's see what I can do. So I've grabbed a couple of my 12 by 12 stencils and I'm just lining it up over top of my white background paper. And this is Vicki Boutin mixed media paper, so it should hold up well to the ink and to the water. Now I'm not going to do as much water as I did for last week's video. This is just going to be more of a sprinkling so that you can totally get that oxide effect. So the first thing I do is grab my Distress Oxide, and I believe this one is iced spruce, and I'm just going to use this entire stencil with the iced spruce and put that ink straight through it. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you guys watch me ink every single stencil. So voila, there it is. Now I created a different layout using this stencil and used a couple of ink pads, and I really just loved it. Loved the effect. This one, I tried something different. I decided to offset the stencil just a little bit, tape it down to my paper and my glass craft mat, and just go ahead and grab the next Distress Oxide of Bundled Sage and have at it. So since I've offset it just a little bit, you see I'm kind of missing about an inch or so on the background paper. So the only thing I'm going to do is, once I have completely inked through this stencil with that sage color, I'm going to just scooch it over ever so slightly, line it up as best as I can, and then push some ink through that stencil. Now, it creates, you kind of lose the circular pattern with this, and it kind of creates like a funky X, and it's still pretty cool looking. It's definitely pretty cool looking. And there it is. Now, see, I think that's pretty cool. So the next thing I do is pull out my Sunburst stencil, and I'm going to place this over the top. Now, when I was like putting this together in my head, I decided to do the evergreen bough on the top layer, because I thought that I needed something maybe with a little bit more substance, a little bit more oomph behind it to cover up the two layers that I had on the bottom. If I did this layout again, I would do the Starburst stencil first and then do the funky X thing over top of it. I like the way it came out, don't get me wrong. I just want to try it the other way to see what happens. So I'm just taking that evergreen bough Distress Oxide, pushing it through each of the sunburst rays, and then when I pull it off, you're going to be able to see what has happened, and that is 3 colors of green Distress Oxide kind of mixed together to make one color, because the green Distress Oxides I have don't really match the green that's in the photo. So I figured I would just do a whole plethora of greens and make it work for me that way. So here it is, all done, and as you can see, it's pretty thick. The evergreen bough ink looks pretty thick, and that might be just because the ink pad is juicier, who knows. So what I thought I was going to do with this stencil was take some water on a Distress Oxide pad, kind of run it over the stencil, and I would get the oxidization in that cool swirly stripy effect. But the water whoop right underneath that stencil, and it turned it into kind of a watery mess. So I just blot that off a little bit, and then I'm just gonna make the oxide happen by spraying my Distress sprayer over top of it. I like the Distress sprayer. If you just, go shoop, 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 spraying it, you'll get a great, pretty even mist. And if you squeeze the trigger slower, you get bigger, fuller drops. So that's what I was doing there. I just shoop, shoop, shooped all the way over, and then I squeezed the trigger a little bit more slowly so I could get some bigger drops. And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't have enough greens on this paper. So I decided to pull out an ink, and I went ahead and got out my Brutus Monroe surface sprays, And that is what I'm going to be sprinkling down here on this layout. Now the layout is still sort of wet, so they are going to kind of burst ever so slightly. Nothing like a color burst would. Oh, I need some color. I need to get some color bursts and combine some distress inks and some color bursts. I bet you that would be wicked cool. Like seriously wicked cool. Okay, so anyway, my surface inks burst a little bit, just a little bit, not a whole lot. Off camera, I did hit it with a heat gun for a few minutes, and then I just blot it with a paper towel. So here it is, and I'm thinking, you know what? I've got these weird edges now. I'm going to have to trim them off. I'm thinking I'm going to be matting the thing in black cardstock. That's what I've already pulled out. And then I have some close to my heart papers and such things. And I think that this is called Blossom. No, it's Boutique. I knew it was a B word. So it's called Boutique. And I think that this color for paper right here is going to be a great background. It kind of gives it that nod to that icy bluey green. And I think I need to break that up. There needs to be something there because there's some pops of black in the photo. I feel like I need a little pop of black surrounding this top layer. So there it is. I'm just going to go ahead and add some ATG to that and put it down. And I don't have a problem at all having my dark layer in between two lighter layers. Now, I really do enjoy matting everything on black, but I thought another matte of black would have been just a little bit too much. So here is a cut apart from that same Boutique collection. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off just two of the cut aparts. And I'm not using them as anything. As the cut apart is decorated, they're just going to be a couple little layers. And it's funny that I pulled out this card. It says collect moments, not things, and I'm doing a layout about the dishes that I bought last year. Kind of crazy. Anyway, whatever, I think it's kind of crazy. Anyway. So I decided to pull in another color just to give it a little bit of contrast. So I went with this yellow paper, and again, every paper that I'm using came from close to my heart. I just go ahead and matte that, and then I don't like it. I think that there is just too much stark contrast between that yellow paper and all those green Distress Oxide inks that I've used in the background. So I'm thinking I'm going to use my little cut aparts as layers, and I do, but I'm still thinking it needs something. At first I was going to go with that geometric pink because I'm, kind of using geometrics all over the place. But then I thought, whoa, too much. So I used this floral paper and it kind of softened it around the edges just a little bit. And then here is that collect moments card, and I'm just going to go ahead and use that to kind of weigh down the bottom a little bit. It definitely is a sunburst layout, but I do give the weight to the bottom of the page instead of centered over the sunburst. And I'm okay with that. Nobody says you have to have the center of the sunburst be the center of your page. So I pop out the word beautiful because I think it is. And I just use some, what kind of adhesive is this? This is from Thermoweb. It's Tape Runner XL Permanent. I won this in a Thermoweb giveaway contest type thing, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I haven't really figured it out yet. I haven't figured out if I love it or not. So I'm grabbing a couple enamel dots. I'm pulling just a couple of my green ones. I didn't really go through the whole pile to find out if I had the perfect green shade, but I did have these pearls right here, these self-adhesive pearls in this kind of like pink champagne-y color, and I just decided to pop those down just to give it a little bit more texture since basically it's just paper and ink on this layout. And of course, I will drop a few lines of journaling down, just, you know, sharing my excitement over getting the dishes. And I am using a Muji pen. My friend Christina turned me on to these pens. They write great, and they write beautifully over top of these Distress Oxide inks. So if you're looking for a pen to write over top of your oxide inks, I totally recommend the Muji pen. And that's going to wrap it up for this layout, guys. Please make sure that you're checking out all the other ladies' links down below so you can see what they have done this week. And keep watching, because this is going on for a couple more weeks. I'll see you guys soon.